Hi everyone, welcome back to Learn Turkish the Easy Way channel. Today is Tuesday, actually is one of those grammar class days, live grammar classes. I was actually reluctant, I was not actually sure about whether to run the class today, to have a lesson today or not, but I still chose to do it. As I told you previously, there is a set of the grammar topics that I have to kind of first to prepare for you, especially in regard to those complex tenses and moods. Right, we already covered the basic tenses: present tense, past tense, present continuous tense, future tense, and we already covered the conditional mood, imperative mood. So we have basically 5 tenses and 4 moods that we had to cover, and then we have to deal with the complexities, with the combinations of this. So I'm preparing kind of lessons for you in regard to those. As soon as I prepare, as soon as I am done with those lessons, you will have them. And actually, there are at least 15 different lessons that we may have based on these combinations, different combinations. But I'm trying to find a better way or easier way to understand for you those combinations of different times and kind of tenses, right, and the moods. So hopefully in the upcoming weeks you will have these lessons as well, in a much straightforward and easy way to understand. Today I chose the topic that I have already kind of covered in the grammar lessons, in the not live lessons but just normal lessons that you have in the channels, in my channel playlist on grammar. It is personal pronouns, and the reason I chose this topic to do it live is I have very much issues with this, is in terms of learners of Turkish language having difficulty understanding the personal pronouns or the endings, and because it is encountered on the daily basis, I wanted to cover it separately again in the live sessions, together with your questions if you have any, of course. But I will use the slides that I prepared for the other class. Okay, so for some of you it might be a novelty if you have not watched that class, that lesson, that video in my grammar playlist. So let's start and talk about the personal pronouns. So personal pronouns, what are they? They are basically the pronouns I, you, right, he, she, it. So in Turkish we have again 6 of them, like in most of the languages in the world. It's not an exception. So basically it is 6, right? So I is ben, second person singular, sen is you, o is he, she, it, biz is we, siz is you plural or formal, and onlar is they. Now, so basically you say it's what? Ben, sen, o, biz, siz, onlar. Now, what are the points, relevant points over here? First of all, so let's go with the notes, right? The first thing that we have to remember about Turkish personal pronouns is that o, which is a third person singular, may mean he, she, or it, depending on the contexts. Okay, and we don't have this kind of a gender differentiation when it comes to o or he, she, it. Okay, and the way you understand whether you mean he, she, or it, of course, is the context. Okay, the context determines everything. If you are kind of in the environment where you talk about a specific man, of course, o will mean he. Okay, and everyone will understand it. But if you don't know, if it's not clear whom you mean by o from the context, imagine, I mean, your friend tells you that look at o, right? Ona bak. Ona bak, onu sevmiyorum, right? You may not know who that o is. It might be her or it might be him. Okay, so if you say onu sevmiyorum, onu beğenmiyorum, I don't like him or I don't like her, that is understood only from the context. And if you don't know the context, you will ask whom, right? Whom you don't like, or whom do you mean? So that's the only way, and that is something not necessarily you face very frequently. Okay, maybe in 70-80% of the cases you will know who that o is, whether it's he or she. Okay, and mostly it is he or she. It's not even it, but in the cases of it might be also that one. if you talk about animals, right, for example. So basically, when you talk about O, it is mostly understood from the context. So don't kind of, in writing it may be different, right? Difficult, you don't know who is O. In writing, you need to specify maybe the name. You need to see the name of the person, right? If it is, for example, Sevda, then O is definitely she, right? Other than that, you will never know who is O unless the writer specifies the name or something specific about the gender. So that's one thing. The second note about the personal pronouns in Turkish language is that whenever we have to distinguish between when it comes to O, we have to distinguish that from the demonstrative pronoun, okay? Because O that we see in this lesson is about the personal pronouns. O, he, she, it is a personal pronoun. And pronouns in Turkish are called zamir, okay? Zamirler, pronouns. So the personal pronoun O is different than the demonstrative pronoun O, which acts as an adjective. Okay, so look at the examples below. You will see that, for example, in the first sentence, right? O erken geldi. It means he, she came early, acting, and here O acts as a subject. Okay, but if you say O adam erken geldi, then you use O here as a demonstrative pronoun, which acts as an adjective. Okay, so which person? That person. O adam. Hangi adam? O adam erken geldi. Okay, so so basically we have to distinguish this two, and again there is a note by Truth Seeker. I watch your idiom lessons and sentence structure and tenses. This is the only channel that offers understandable and well organized. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this kind of feedback. It really is very important and motivating for me because I don't receive very much of this kind of feedback nowadays, and not many people really watch my channel. But yes, this is something I hope that many people will watch in the future more and more. The number of subscribers is very demotivating. The number of, or at least the amount of time spent on watching is not motivating for me, but it is still demotivating, discouraging. Hello Viju, but yeah, I hope more and more people will reach to the channel and maybe learn something. Thank you again. Yeah. So basically, the second note I have here is that O can be used as a pronoun and at the same time as a as a personal pronoun, as a demonstrative pronoun. Okay, as a demonstrative pronoun. Then we have another note. The third note is that just put it. Okay, so the third note is that the personal pronoun siz, which is you plural, right? You plural is used to either address two or more people, which means plurality, or to address someone in a formal way, which is very similar to the pronoun usted in Spanish. I'm sure there are other languages where in Russian it's вы, right? Вы. So basically, you will have this sis used in the same way as in English, as in Spanish and in Russian. Sis means both, either plural you or a formal you, okay? Respectful way, when you address somebody in a respectful way. What else do we have to cover about this? Is the endings, okay? This is the most important part about the personal pronouns, okay? So what is this? Let me just open this one. Okay, so what is this? Now, there are many languages where the pronoun dropping rule allows you to drop pronoun from the sentence because it is already implied in the verbs, okay, in the action verbs. And here I wrote, kind of summarize it for you, what kind of endings you may face in those action verbs that will imply you the pronoun, okay? For ben, for I, it is usually M, the letter M, okay? And when you look, for example, yaparım, yaptım, yapacağım, yapsam, you see, you always have this M there, okay? And probably this is the easiest one to identify because it's only one letter and it doesn't have any overlaps with the other pronouns, okay? So it's only one letter M that tells me that it's I, okay? It's ben. Yaptım, yapacağım, gideceğim, yapsam, yaparım, görürüm, and so on and so on. So you see it's always M. And therefore, when you drop, if you're lost, if you don't know which pronoun is this, definitely M will tell you that this is I, okay? When it comes to sen, you singular, second person singular, it is N or SN, okay? That is what you have as variation. Yaparsın, yaptın, the past tense, right? Yapacaksın, future tense. Yapsan, a conditional mood. So this it's either N or SN. That is how you identify the second person singular if you don't have a pronoun, if the pronoun is dropped from the sentence. The third is third person singular, and this third pronoun doesn't have any specific endings, okay? It's very clear. We don't have, and by the way, this is also the base, okay? This is also the base for all other conjugation of the verbs. For example, if you talk about yapar, everything starts with yapar, right? Yaparım, yaparsın, yapar. You see, yaparız, yaparsınız, yaparlar. So yapar, the third person singular, always acts as the kind of the base for all grammatical conjugations in Turkish language, okay? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is also same in Spanish. The third person singular, right? The third person singular also is used in Arabic, I think, to identify the base for kind of conjugations. So in Turkish so in Turkish language it's the same. The third person doesn't have any specific ending, okay? It's without endings. And if you don't see any endings, that's probably the third person singular. Next we have first person plural, biz, right? We, and the variation for that is either ze or ke, okay? And again, you see it doesn't overlap very much with other pronouns. Yaparız, yaptık, yapacağız, yapsak, gördük, göreceğiz. You see, z or ke. These two letters are implying the biz pronoun in verbs. Then you have siz, which is respectful or plural, right? You. And I always denote it with the capital, starting with the capital Y letter. So you have either neze or seneze. Okay, it's very parallel to the second person singular, where we have ne or sene. The only difference is we have ze here attached, okay? While in the second person singular you have yaparsın, here it is yaparsınız. Yaptın, yaptınız. Yapacaksın, yapacaksınız. You see, that's how they parallel go. We have ne, sene in the second singular, and we have neze, seneze in the second plural. Even, I mean, seneze is already shouting, right? Yelling, telling you I am the second person plural. Seneze is already very self-explanatory that I am the second person plural pronoun. And in regard to the third tense, third person plural, again we don't have any specific ending per se, but we have the plural ending, right? Lar or ler, depending on the context. Of course, on the vowel harmony you may have lar or ler, depending on the last vowel in the verb, and that's how you identify the plurality or the third person plural. But we also have kind of a note regarding to that. Let me go to that one. So don't forget this. This picture is very important, okay? These endings are very stable and fixed, and you will not see, they really can help you identify the verbs or the person, the pronoun in the verb, in the sentence. Now, there are two more notes about this kind of things. The first one is that, do you really have to drop the pronoun always, or can you drop it always? Of course, you can always drop it unless you specify, unless you want to specify the pronoun deliberately, okay? For example, you can say, or you can be asked, imagine a group of people, right? And a person asks these people, who saw the person, okay? Who saw the dog? for example. And of course, you have to specify ben gördüm, right? You cannot say just gördüm, because gördüm is about the action. But ben gördüm is really, you express it was me who saw, okay? So unless you want to specify specifically who had this action, right? Who acted here, you can always drop it, okay? You can always drop it. Or if you have multiple pronouns in the sentence, for example, you can say I will do this and you will do this, okay? Ben bunu yapacağım, sen bunu yapacaksın. Or ben bunu yaptım, sen bunu yaptın. There you can of course specify the pronouns expressly, right? Explicitly, without hiding the pronoun. So other than that, if you don't need the pronoun, you can drop it, because anyway it is implied from the endings, right? From the endings at the end of the verb. And the last note I have here is in regard to the lar, the plural ending lar, okay? Normally, if you already have the subject in place in the sentence, you can drop that lar and use the third person singular verb, same as the first person, okay? So the third person singular will be same with the third person plural, okay? So çocuklar kitap okuyorlar, look at the example below. Çocuklar kitap okuyorlar is equal in the meaning with çocuklar kitap okuyor, okay? Because çocuklar already tells us that it is plural, okay? But if there was no çocuklar, we would never know it is. If you just say kitap okuyor, we will never understand it, whether it's a single person or the multiple people, okay? Therefore, if the subject is there, if the plural subject is there specifying the action of the kind of who is the actor, then you can always omit that lar at the end of the verbs, okay? Yapacaklar, yapacak. Yaptılar, yaptı. Onlar yaptı. Çocuklar yaptı or yaptılar. It doesn't matter, okay? Çocuklar okuyacaklar or çocuklar okuyacak. It doesn't matter. So you can drop that lar if the subject, plural subject, is known. But if there is no subject and you are talking about multiple people, you have to put that lar, okay? You cannot omit it, because if you omit it, it will mean first person singular, he, she, it. And if you don't want people to misunderstand you, of course, if you mean plurality here, somebody plural, then you have to put that lar. You cannot omit it. Lar, lar should be at the end of the verb. So these are basically the things that I wanted to cover about the personal pronoun. And let's look at this kind of a practically very kind of a fast. How do we determine, okay? So kızdım, you see the first verb here, it is past tense, right? Kızdı, di, do, it is past tense. And then we have the personal ending M, which is I, right? It is I. Kızdım means I got angry. Kızmak is to get angry. I got angry. Okay, so because of that M, letter M, we say it is I got angry. It is past tense, di, do, and then M, it is I. Bakacaksın. Acak, ecek, right? Bakmak, this is the verb bakmak, this is the root. Then we have acak, ecek, right? Future tense. And then we have SN. SN was what? Second person singular, right? You singular. So bakacaksın, you will look. Bakmak is to look, you will look. That's how you say, because of this S and N, right? That was the rule. What about the third one? Görüyorlar. By default, you have görmek. The root is gör, right? Görmek. Then you have present continuous tense, uyuyor, right? Uyuyor. Uyuyor. This is the present continuous tense. And then we have this plurality ending lar, which by default tells us this is they, right? They are seeing. They are seeing. Sevmiyorsunuz. The verb here is sevmek, right? We have sev as the root. Then we have negative. It makes negative. Sev me, right? Sev me. That m makes it negative. Seviyorum. Seviyorsunuz is affirmative. Sevmiyorsunuz is negative. So sev me. Then you have iyor, right? Again, this is present continuous. Iyor. And then we have snz. You see, snz. Ending in the ending snz. Therefore, it is you plural, right? Or respectful, formal way. You, let me make it capital letter O. You don't, it's negative, don't like or don't love, okay? Don't love or don't like. Let's look at the bilmezsin. Bilmez is bilmek, to know, right? Bilmek. Then we have the negative bilmez, right? That makes it negative of the present tense. Bilir, bilirsin, bilmezsin, right? That is the negative of bilirsin. Bilirsin, bilmezsin. So that's negative. And then we have sn. The letters s and n. It means it's about you, singular, right? Second person singular. You won't know. You don't know, present tense, or you won't know. You don't know, or it means you wouldn't know. What else? Yapmalısınız. Yapmalısınız is yapmak comes, the root is yap, right? Yap. The verb is yap. Then we have the mood, not tense, but we have mood here. Malı meli, right? This is imperative mood. Malı meli means must, should, right? Have to. So yapmalı, and then you have snz. We don't have tense here, it is mood. So snz tells us this is you, plural, right? Second person plural, which means you have to do, you must do. You must do, or you should do, you have to do. Let's go with the next example now. The next is the gitsem. Okay, gitmek is to go, right? That's the root, git. Then we don't have any tense ending. We have again conditional mood now. Sa se, right? Sa se is conditional mood. If meaning if. So git se, and then we have m. M is, remember, first person plural. Singular. I, right? So therefore it means if I go. If I go. Conditional. If I go. So it's I. The next is almak. Okay, almasak. So al is almak, to get, to buy, and then we have negative ending. Negative kind of addition m, suffix m, right? Al, ma, right? Alsak, almasak. So alsak, almasak, right? This negative, and then we have sa se, again conditional mood. And then we have K. K was what? First person plural, right? Remember, first person plural. K is biz. If we don't buy. So al, to buy. Ma, negative. Then sa, se, conditional if. And then K, personal ending is we. Okay? If we don't buy, if we don't get. If we don't buy or get. Another one, verdik. Okay, verdik. Vermek is to give, and d ending is past tense, right? Verdik. D, do, past tense endings. And then we have K, again K. It was we, right? We gave. We gave. That's how we understand it is we. We gave. Next one is göreceğiz. Görmek is to see, right? We covered it above. Görmek. Then we have acak ecek ending, which is plural, and here K is transformed to yumuşak G because of transformation, consonant mutation. So acak ecek is the future tense, and then we have Z, right? Only Z is meaning what? Again, we. In the future tense, we. We will see. We will see. Söyledin, the next example. Söyledin is söylemek, right? Söyle is the the root here, söylemek. Then we have dı, di, du, du ending, which is past tense ending, dı, di, du, du. And the letter N, which is singular N, right? Not SN, just N. Therefore, it is you, singular, right? You, second person singular. You said, or you told, okay? You told, you said. Anlamam, anlamak is to understand, right? Anla is the root here. Then we have ma, right? Negative ma. Anlarım, anlamam. So that's the present tense. Anlarım, and the negative, affirmative is anlarım, and the negative is anlamam, right? So we have negative here, and then we have am, which is only for the first person singular, right? I don't understand, or I won't understand, I will not understand. I don't understand, or I wouldn't understand. And the last one example here is açtınız, right? Açmak is that's the root, right? Açmak, aç. Then you have dı, di, du, du ending, right? Past tense. Why is te? Because the previous consonant is che. Therefore, we have to transform, kind of mutate the past tense ending dı, di, du, du to tı, ti, tu, tu. Okay. So açtınız. So we have aç, açmak, the root. Then we have t, the past tense ending, and then we have ne and ze here. You see, ne and ze here, which tells us that what? That is second person singular. Sorry, plural you, right? Formal or plural. Aç, açtı, açtınız. You opened. You put, let me make it capital. You opened. Okay, that is basically how you work with the personal pronouns. Okay, you can imply, they are all implied in the verbs anyway, okay, everywhere here, and you can imply by those endings. Okay, you can understand it by those endings. Let me go back to show you those endings. Okay, where it was here, this one, right? So this one, these endings, don't forget these endings. They are helpful for you to understand who you are talking about as a pronoun. There is a question here by Norm. Hocam, what is the difference between anlamam and anlamadım? Anlamam, okay, let me just put it here. Okay, so anlamam is the present tense, the negative of the present tense. Anlamadım is the negative of the past tense. Okay, so they are different. Let me just cover that too. Okay, here. So what is the difference between anlamam? That's the question, right? Anlamam and versus anlamadım. Anlamadım. You see, anla is the root for both, anla, right? Then we have negative for both, which is same for both. Anla, ma, negative. Then we have only here one m, right? And here we have m here, anlamadım. But here we have the past tense ending, and here when you look at anlamam, actually the present tense ending is here. This one is a, okay, that a. This alone m is already enough to make it negative. So you have this a as the present tense ending, and here it is past tense ending. So anlamam has present tense ending, which is negative here, anlamam. And anlamadım has a past tense ending the together with the ma, of course, which makes it negative. But for both cases, it's first person singular because we have m. Okay, first person singular. Anlamam is present tense. Anlamadım is past tense. Okay. Okay. For example, anlamam, right? It's present tense. Anlamıyorum is present continuous tense, right? Anlamadım is simple past tense. Anlamamışım is reported past tense. Anlamayacağım is future tense. Okay. So anlamayacağım. Okay. And so on. So anlamam, anlamıyorum, anlamadım, anlamamışım, anlamayacağım. 5 tenses. Remember, we covered 5 tenses. So for all 5 tenses, this is a different ways, but negative, of course. This is negative. Okay. If you want to say affirmative, Anlarım, anlıyorum, anladım, anlamışım, anlayacağım. That will be the affirmative for all these 5 tenses. Okay. Any other questions? I think I have covered the topic that I wanted to cover. Anything else which is unclear about the personal pronouns? Rica ederim. You're welcome. Anything else? No? So it was a kind of already covered, but I think just needed one extra kind of lesson about this to clarify this kind of endings, specific endings. Okay, I really see this very important. So whenever I see very important something for the whole language, grasping the understanding of the whole language, I really put it forward. Okay, more and more, I emphasize it more and more, and these endings, personal endings, already tell you very much about all the verbs. Okay, all the verbs in the Turkish language. All right, if there are no other questions, thank you for joining. I still encourage you, if you're still not part of the channel, this Telegram channel, I use that channel for the notification purposes, for discussion maybe in the future. If we have more participants, if we have more kind of audience, we can discuss topics over there as well. You can ask something very immediately. If you don't remember, if you don't know, I can answer it immediately. We can discuss together. Or especially for the videos, for the live videos, for the live lessons, I will post their notifications about the upcoming lessons, upcoming kind of classes, so you can join if you like. It is not mandatory. It's just a kind of for you to kind of, if you really need it, if you want it. All right. Thank you very, very much for joining. I'll hopefully see you in the next lessons. Have a nice day. Bye bye arkadaşlar. Görüşmek üzere. Teşekkürler Norm. I don't know your name, but thank you. Thank you, Viju. See you in the next lessons. Thank you.